So, what are you doing after work?
Jasper smiled at me from the video call. The same thing I've done for the past 3 months. Come home and chat with you? Jasper laughed.
I'm off to work. I'll see you later.
I blew him a kiss and he caught it playfully before I hung up. I couldn't believe that I was able to find a decent guy, especially on a dating app. Even though we lived in 2 different states, we found the time to spend with each other through video calls or text messaging to spend time together. Do you think Jasper and I will last? Watch my crazy story till the end to find out. After 3 months of video chatting, we finally decided to meet halfway and go on a real date. Actually, we made it a weekend of dates. On the first night, I saw a movie, went to dinner, and walked around the city enjoying the crisp evening breeze. On Saturday night, we went to an art gallery, and Sunday he ate a romantic picnic where Jasper asked me to be his girlfriend. After I came home from our amazing weekend, I expected Jasper's and I relationship to flourish. However, that didn't happen. For the next 2 weeks, I called, I texted, and left voice messages to Jasper, but nothing. Did he change his mind about me? Did he ask me to be his girlfriend just to spend the weekend with me? Did he just ghost me? I could feel the smoke coming out of my ears, and I was determined not to let anyone toy with my emotions. I couldn't believe that I fell for his lies. He was a loser, just like the other guys I dated previously. I never wanted to hear from him again. I blocked him from social media, and I also blocked him on my phone. Since Jasper was a bust, I think I'm done with dating. I opened my phone and went into my tagged account to delete it. But a message caught my eye. I opened it and the person addressed me by my real name. "Who is this?" I typed. Immediately, the person responded.
Sabrina, it's me, Jasper. I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please unblock me so I can explain what happened.
Being the soft-hearted person that I am, I unblocked Jasper from my phone and gave him a call.
Sabrina, thank you so much. The past 2 weeks, I've been feeling under the weather. I thought I caught a bug, but I went to Dr. Martin, and it's more than a bug.
Jasper went on to tell me that he struggled with cancer for years, but it went into remission, but now it's back. Dr. Martin found a growth on his lungs, and he needed to start treatment immediately. Jasper, why didn't you tell me that you had cancer before? We chatted for 3 months before we even met. How could you not mention to me that, especially since we were hoping to get into something more serious than casual dating?
I'm sorry, but every girl that I mentioned my cancer to bailed on me, and I didn't want you to leave as well.
I deserved to know if I wanted us to date seriously. This way, I can decide whether or not I want to stay with you or not, instead of being swindled into a commitment like this. Jasper agreed and he apologized for not telling me. I told him that I wasn't going anywhere, which he seemed very happy about. Over the next few weeks, Jasper went to the doctor often, and when we did video calls, he always looked sick. He showed me pictures of him hooked up to machines, and I felt my heart break. One morning at around 5 a.m., I got a call from Jasper. He was crying and freaking out, and I could hardly understand what he was saying. After a few tries, I was able to blurt it out. Dr. Martin wanted him to have a surgery to remove the growth since other treatments were not working. This meant that he'd be out of commission for a few weeks.
I know that we just started dating, but will you be able to stay with me after the surgery until I'm able to hire someone for the rest of my recovery? Also, can I borrow $10,000 just until I get back to work? You don't have to feel obliged to say yes.
Of course, I'm here to help you. After Jasper gave me all the information I needed, I told my boss that I had a family emergency and I needed to use 2 weeks of my vacation immediately. I booked my flight and a rental car for when I got to the city. Jasper offered to reimburse me for the cost of everything, but I told him it was okay. On the day of Jasper's surgery, I landed and got the rental car. I had about 2 hours before I'd pick Jasper up after his surgery, so I decided to pick him up a get well soon card and some flowers. As I drove into the parking lot of the hospital, I received a call from Jasper. He told me the surgery was scheduled for an earlier time and he asked a friend of his to drop him home. He fell asleep and apologized for contacting me so late. Jasper gave me his home address and I was there within 20 minutes.
Hey, babe.
Jasper opened the door and smiled at me as he leaned against his walking stick for support. I hugged him gently and kissed him on the lips. I felt the soft padding under his shirt, which I assumed was his bandage.
Thank you for coming.
Jasper closed the door behind me. How are you feeling?
A bit sore and tired, but I'm happy now you're here.
Jasper showed me where to place my luggage, and for the rest of the day, we watched movies, ate food, and had snacks. Jasper didn't eat much because he said he didn't have much of an appetite. The first week passed without any hiccups, and I was surprised at how great Jasper and I got along. He spent most of his day in bed sleeping off painkillers, but once he was up, we'd talk for hours or just watch movies. During the second week of my stay, I woke up one morning and realized that Jasper was gone. I checked everywhere in his apartment, but he was nowhere to be found. My heart raced, and I had to do my breathing exercises to calm down. Just relax, Sabrina. He has a walking stick. How far could he possibly go? About 15 minutes later, I heard the front door open and Jasper walked in with 2 coffees and a bag of bagels. I noticed that there was blood at the front of his shirt on his abdomen where his bandage was. Wasn't he in any pain? I thought to myself. Jasper looked at me curiously, and it occurred to me that he had asked me a question. Sorry, babe, what did you ask me?
Do you want a cinnamon bagel or a sesame bagel?
Cinnamon, please. Jasper nodded and handed me my coffee and bagel. My thoughts continued. If Jasper's bandage is seeping blood, then he must be feeling some sort of discomfort. Then why is he laughing and chatting as though nothing has happened? Alarm bells sounded in my mind. Something wasn't right. It dawned on me that Jasper probably never did surgery in the first place, and this entire thing was a sham. Was I in any immediate danger?
I'm running to the bedroom real quick, and I'll join you in a moment, okay?
I nodded. As soon as Jasper disappeared into the bedroom, I got up quickly and searched through his mail to ensure he had given me his real name. Things aren't adding up, and I need to get more information on who Jasper really was. Jasper Ibis really was his real name. I rushed back to my seat because I didn't want Jasper to catch me.
Sabrina, I have some bad news.
Jasper said solemnly when he exited the bedroom.
My parents are on their way to see me. Don't worry about your bags, I already packed them for you. I made a reservation that's close to the airport and I'll pay your hotel fee.
So, why not introduce me to your family? Instead, you thought it was best to put me out. I took a plane to come and stay with you, and this is how you treat me?
I'm sorry, but you don't know my family. Mom never liked any of my girlfriends, and if she found out you were taking care of me first and she wasn't, I'd never hear the end of it. The pain of that and my surgery, well, I'd prefer not to deal with all that drama at this time. Listen, I'll visit you at the hotel. Just let me know your room number when you arrive.
Immediately, I grabbed my luggage and left. I didn't go to the hotel Jasper made the reservations at because something told me that Jasper wasn't telling me the truth. When I checked in at the hotel, I informed the desk that if anyone called and asked for me, they shouldn't put me through to my room phone. I knew I needed to get to the bottom of this. I opened my laptop and did a quick social media sweep looking for anything on Jasper to pop up. Damn it, nothing. Unless I quickly created a new social media alias, and suddenly everything on Jasper Ibis popped up. None of his family lived close by. He doesn't work for Glass Limited like he told me. When I read what he did for a living, I shuddered. Jasper was employed by hospitals to be a guinea pig. Yeah, you heard right. A human guinea pig. He was used by new doctors to gain experience in their field. I looked through his picture and noticed the picture he showed me of him in hospital gowns and hooked up to tubes from a simulation he did a few years ago. But there's more. He also had 4 children, all with different women, and he was now living with his pregnant girlfriend. His last post was an hour ago.
Lucky my baby is out of hospital, 35 weeks and still beautiful.
I may be a soft-hearted person, but I wasn't a very patient one. I scrolled through his list of family members that he posted and I came across a Rob Ibis, his brother. Luckily for me, when I clicked Rob's name, he was online. I quickly messaged him and told him I was a friend of Jasper's and wanted to send him some flowers since I heard that he had cancer and just had surgery. Rob politely told me that his brother didn't have cancer, nor did he do any surgery recently that he knew of. I thanked Rob and closed my laptop. Are you freaking kidding me? I unblocked Jasper for this? My nostrils flared and my blood ran hot as I grabbed my car keys and hopped into the car. I sped down the road and my tires screeched as I pulled in front of Jasper's house. In the drive was a blue minivan. I rang the doorbell and the woman I saw on Jasper's social media page answered the door. I cleared my throat. Hi, is Jasper home? I'm a co-worker of his. I heard he had a surgical procedure done and I wanted to check in. I faked a smile.
I think you have the wrong house.
His girlfriend looked genuinely confused. I couldn't believe it. Jasper was scamming her as well. I have the right house, if I can just speak with you outside for a few minutes. His girlfriend stepped out of the apartment and I quickly told her what happened over the past few months. His girlfriend thanked me and I left. I thought I'd go back to my pitiful life and grow into an old cat lady. However, life had a few detours for me first. About 20 minutes after I arrived at the hotel, I heard a knock on my room door. I opened it and there stood the manager and 2 police officers.
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am, but there are police officers here to question you.
I raised an eyebrow. Question me about what?
Were you at Jasper Ibis's house this afternoon?
Yes, I said hesitantly. The officer pulled out his handcuffs, pinned me to the wall, and handcuffed me.
You're coming to the station with us since you can't seem to keep your hands to yourself.
What are you talking about? I asked as they pushed me out of the hotel.
Mr. Ibis's girlfriend is in the hospital because of you. If her baby dies, you will be arrested for manslaughter.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just another jealous ex.
The police officer shook his head. At the police station, I called my lawyer, Mr. Falcon, and I was granted bail. I was ordered to stay in the hotel until my case was called. After a few days, Mr. Falcon called and said Jasper was willing to agree to a settlement of $20,000 and he'd drop all the charges. I agreed to the settlement since it was my word against theirs and there was footage of me speaking with Jasper's girlfriend. I took a loan from the bank and through my lawyer paid Jasper since I never wanted to see his two-timing face ever again. After my ordeal with Jasper, I did a full makeover, including cutting and dyeing my hair. A few days later, my friends decided to take me on a trip out of town. While I sat at the bar with some of my friends, Jasper and his girlfriend walked in. And did you know? His girlfriend was no longer pregnant. Did she lose the baby? I snapped a few pictures of them without noticing and sent them to my lawyer and asked if he heard anything about Jasper's girlfriend losing the baby. A few days later, Mr. Falcon called me.
Sabrina, hi, I've got some great news. I hired a private investigator to dig up everything on Jasper and his girlfriend, and you weren't the first person those two have conned. But what I can guarantee, they'll think twice before doing it to someone else.
We took them to court and dragged them through the mud. By the time Mr. Falcon tore them apart, Jasper and his girlfriend snitched on each other. They each got 2 years imprisonment and I sued them for $100,000 for trauma and grief. As for social media, I'll stick to finding out what kind of pizza I am by doing quizzes. Social media and dating is not something I'll ever do again. Or at least not until I paid a private investigator to make sure his story checks out first.